So, good morning, everybody. I'm Federica Trudu from the University of Siena, and I'm going to present you the second part of our work on smart cities. We started a smart city analysis asking ourselves which cities are involved in a smart cities project, both on a European and at a global level. So we gathered some information about them. First of all, the size, so the population of the city. The second is the time frame of the project. Then the partners, so who worked on this kind of project. In particular, we were interested to find out if also companies were working on this kind of project. And finally, we tried to find where the funding came from for this kind of projects. But the big question for us was who started the project. It was of paramount importance to understand how this kind of project take life. So we found out more than 300 projects. Of them, we found 120 cities in Europe with a variable size between 1,700 inhabitants to 1.7 million. And we also find 55 cities in the world with a variable size between 6,000 inhabitants to 21 million. So, for the partners, who works on a smart cities project? Usually, the municipality is involved, but also we found university working on that with them, government agency, other public authorities, and finally, companies. For the companies, no big surprise to find big names of like Huawei, IBM, Cisco, Oracle, Microsoft. We also found big telecommunication groups. It was not surprising to find a mainly multinational company, but we also found some projects where small local enterprises were involved. We were more surprised to find out that they work sometimes in a consortium, so it's not impossible to make them work together. For the funding part, the main funding source is the national government, but also municipalities themselves can fund the project sometimes, and a shorter amount is funded by EU programs, and also by private financing. We also found some cases where the company themselves funded the project. Another interesting aspect is that mixed public and private funding is possible for this kind of project. As the answer to our big question, who started the project, sometimes they are universities that propose the project. Also, national government plan try to begin projects in smart cities. But the first source of change of smart cities project are the municipality themselves. They want to improve their city in some aspects. Then we decided to start looking to cities at European level. So we divided the Europe according to Eurovoc regions. So we have the north part, the east part, the south part, and the west part. From all this region, we selected 25 to 40 cities that have to be medium small cities. And we try to have maximum 3 cities for each country. After this big batch of cities, we made another selection and we refined it to 51 cities equally distributed at the geographical level. For these cities, we try to find out if they already participated to EU project using the Cordis database. So we found 163 projects, and we discovered that only 4 cities have not participated yet to a European project. The other one went from, the majority of them have participated to 1 to 6 projects, with some cities very active that already have 9 or 10 projects. So in the second part of the work, we tried to find a way to contact them. In particular, we were interested in the offices more related to the smart cities field. So from building management offices to mobility offices, urban planning, but also in some municipalities there are specific project offices that deals with that, and also environmental and sustainability offices. It was a great work to do to find the contacts, because not every municipality is an English website, so we have to dig deep to find the information. Finally, we found 72 contacts. 25 of them were to a real person working in the office. 24 were office contact, and 17 general contact of the municipality. All these contacts were used in the third part of the work that Marco is going to present to you. For the second part of our Puris project, we work with Movus. So Movus is a company that works on a mobility solution for smart cities. The name comes from Mobilidad Urbana Sostenible. And it is a small company founded in 2008 that was recently acquired by Urbaser. That is a very big company that works on environmental management. The core business of Mobus are different services that they offer. MiBici is an automatic system of bike sharing that is now used in the municipalities surrounding Valencia. They also offer a service directly to hotels, where they rent them automatic renting station for bike renting to their clients. They have some dedicated charging and parking point for for electric car. They do a car sharing service that is called e-sharing. And they also offer a special service to enterprises that owns car, so they have an internal fleet, and they offer a system to have internal bike sharing that is called Compartech. Finally, they also do consulting services for municipalities about mobility and transport studies. They already participate to two European projects. The first one is eBridge. It was an European project about integrating electric vehicles in the public transport in order to lower the carbon emission and go into a zero carbon public transport. The role of Movus in this project was to validate and optimize the e-sharing service. The second project is the Dorothy Cluster project. It was a project about urban logistics to develop regional clusters, and the role of Movus was to create, to participate in the creation of the Valencian cluster. So after gathering all this information about the service that Movus does and also the project they already participate, we found out three main ideas for building an EU project. The first one is free-floating bike and car sharing. So briefly, free-floating is when you rent a bike and then you don't have to put it back in the parking station, but you can leave it wherever you want. But Marco is going to talk you about in more detail later. The second one is urban logistics, so the transport of freights inside the city. And the third one, it was about mobility in rural areas. So the idea is to offer some kind of mobility also in areas where there is low demand. With these ideas in mind, we searched the Horizon 2020 program to find the right place for the right call for us. So in the first pillar, excellent science, we have four different kind of calls. So we have the European Research Council, that is about great researchers that have innovative ideas. The Future and Emerging Technologies, that again is about very innovative research ideas that are groundbreaking. The Marie Curie Action, that are about mobility of researchers, and the research infrastructure that are about making connection and networking between research centers. So this is all about research, not applied research, so it was not the right place to look. In the second pillar, industrial leadership, it seems more promising, but the theme they were interested are mainly about nanotechnology and biotechnology and materials, and some of that. And also the plans for small and medium enterprises, as MOVU is, are not suitable for our project because we were talking about a collective project. So we finally went to the third pillar, where the European Union funds answer to specific challenges that we are facing today. And we found out that the fourth societal challenge was very interesting for us because it's smart, green, integrated transport. So from this call, we selected 4 calls. The first one is sustainable multimodal interurban transport, regional mobility, and spatial planning. So here the focus is in intermodality of transport, and more or less all the ideas about rural mobility and also free-floating bike and car sharing could be fitted here. Then we have the second call, that is logistic solution that deal with requirement of on-demand economy and for shared, connected, and low-emission logistic operations. And this is more about urban logistic. So here, an idea of a project about that can be developed. The third call, that is called a new regulatory framework to enable effective deployment of emerging technologies and business operating models for all transport modes, is about disruptive technologies. So disruptive technology is not only a new technology, but also a new business model. So here it could be interesting to find some ideas, both in the free-floating part of the project, because free-floating is still considered a disruptive technology, but also other kind of ideas that involve a new business model could be interested. They also focus a lot on the regulatory approach here, because they are trying to find a way to integrate these disruptive technologies with the public transport that we already have. The fourth call is the user-centric charging infrastructure. So in this call, the aim is to build a charging infrastructure for electric car in a way that it increases the number of electric cars owned also by private persons. So here, I think the MOVUs could build from his experience all the data they already have on the sharing service to propose a very interesting project on that. So before leaving the microphone to Marco, I just want to say thank you to Vanessa Loiacono Ferreira for her help through the project, and to all of you for your attention. Thank you.